Hey. So, this is one of my first videos that I'm recording. Basically, I've had an awakening, and as far as I can tell, it's been very profound, because I have people around me naturally that that I converse with, people that I have the opportunity to speak to, ask questions, compare experiences, so on and so forth. It took a lot for me to begin to find people that that I can relate to as far as the experience is concerned. Some people would consider it a Kundalini awakening, and that seems to be one of the things that I've resonated to, where I've followed the breadcrumb trail, one thing after another. So it's kind of hard to really even know where to begin, where to start. There's so much that's taken place. I feel like I want to give some background, and I guess maybe I'll just try to like piece it together or whatever. So I've had a rough path, mostly of my own making. If you ask me, it was kind of like a perfect storm, between the way that I grew up, what happened there in the household, what I've been genetically predisposed to becoming what I was meant to be, my destiny. Although I do believe in manifesting our own destinies, but I do feel that there's a portion of time there where, when we're children, that being unaware of manifest destiny, being unaware of the ability to be a creator. It's more like life happening to me rather than me happening to life, which is one of the things that I feel like meditation. It's I don't know if you want to call it an a simile, or something that parallels, I guess, like when I want to happen to life, I meditate. When life is happening to me, I pray. That's kind of how I look at it. Go inward to change the outward. The least amount of hands that I can put on the outside world, the better I am to be. I was raised Catholic. I had a spiritual experience, and a family member said, "Oh, I can tell you what happened to you. You were saved. Here, here's this book." And so what did I do? I started to read the book, right? I started to dig into it. I started to go to church. And I thought that I was on the right path. However, life continued to happen. There was things that didn't resonate with me well before I knew what the word resonation was. To resonate, to vibrate towards certain things that didn't jive with me. I tried to, be as the book says, a conqueror. That just didn't work for me. I had to get to a place where I was completely stripped of everything, and everything that I had learned still wasn't working, regardless of all of my will, my power, smarts. Didn't matter. Having knowledge of religion didn't matter. Having knowledge of 12-step program wasn't enough. And these things I did thoroughly. Usually a little bit more thoroughly than the people around me. And how do I know that? By paying attention, by looking around, by having conversations, by sharing knowledge, and knowing what the other person knows, and knowing what I know, and continuing to have a conversation, and finding out. So, having a scientific approach to things, right? Have a theory, got some ideas, kind of like, well, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm formulating a theory to be, based on what I know, based on what I'm growing, based on what I'm knowing, becoming to know. Battled with drug addiction, battled with alcoholism. Couldn't break it. Couldn't understand why. Couldn't understand why people around me that were within the same regiment, the same book, the same steps, same knowledge. Some people were getting it. Some people were changing their lives, remaining drug-free. And I did for a time. I did what was required of me. But there was something inside of me that needed a level of depth and weight that had not been achieved yet. It was something very personal that had to happen to me. And I spoke about having to be stripped down. So, alone, I've managed to make a pretty good tornado out of myself and leave a pretty decent path of destruction. Everywhere I went, the important relationships in my life, abandoning those, neglecting them, neglecting myself first and foremost, not able to have the capacity to love, because I didn't have the capacity to love myself. Now, it's one thing to be able to know, perceive, think. It's another thing to know it in here. And this to here is the longest amount of travel that I've ever experienced in my life. This short distance right here. Might as well have been around the world 1,000 times. So, I understand that this background is, it's a bit general. It's not real pointed. But at this point, it's me making preparation because I want to start a YouTube channel. I want to reach out to people that have had problems with an obsessive mind, addiction, failed relationships, lack of love for themselves, depression, suicidal tendencies, maybe even attempts, because I have a message. I have a real message. And I believe that there's been some serious confusion in the church, the powers that be, the doctrine. I am about truth. That's what I'm about. I'm about learning to become myself, to love myself, to learn and become and becoming the best me that I can be, the me that's comfortable in my own skin. And I have the ability to share that. I believe that I've been called for many reasons, and I'm sure that I will get into the exact reasons, at a later date. It's technical. It's evidential. Yeah. I believe that the calling that's on my life is appointed. I believe that my experiences are, of course, unique in the way of how I'm unique, how you're unique. The snowflake, right? Every snowflake's got its own, every fingerprint, every snowflake's got its own pattern, type deal. I'm definitely unique that way. But my experience is not alone. I've found that out. But it was rare enough that I had to search for other people that had an experience like mine. Like many things in life that I've discovered, I had to search for a scenario, a definition, this long thing, to put a single word to it. Like synchronicity. That's a big one. I used to say that was too coincidental to be coincidence. That was really long to say. Then I read a book. I was incarcerated at the time. I've been incarcerated many times. I've been to state prison, federal prison. I've lived in such a way where, I've kind of pulled out the stops. I didn't realize what was happening to me. I didn't realize that what was happening was I was searching for myself. I didn't realize that life around me was a mirror reflection of me. That what I was experiencing, I had resonated to myself, one way or the other. When we begin to understand that we are energy, that we are not solid, although we appear to be solid, but when you look at it at a molecular level, we are an energy mass that's vibrating, a vibrating energy mass. Energy. I believe eclectically. I am not against knowledge that I have put to the test and have found is true. Now, there's a few things that are very important. I could sum up the Bible. By the way, I studied the heck out of that Bible. Alright? I just have a problem with my God sending me to hell. Not the only thing I have a problem with, especially being that I had an experience. I have now an ongoing experience. I've had a few really intense experiences that I would say, more than a few. I've experienced the whole oneness in ways that, it's like when you're a kid, you think how cool it would be, you see a movie or something like that to have superpowers. Look, when you connect with the universe, which, by the way, you're a cog, you're a spoke in the wheel, you're connected, you're just as connected as I am, but it takes a level of awareness, it takes a level of faith, it takes a level of belief to get there. I kept pushing the envelope, and Creator had something for me. I had to go through a lot. So for me, the way that I look at it is that, number one, because I know what it's like to feel really bad, to feel really depressed, to feel suicidal every day, to wake up and go, damn it, I'm awake. Not again. I don't want to do this again. I don't want to do this again. To come to a place from that, to have a level of excitement to be alive, to begin to see the universe in a different way, see the universe in a way that Creator is literally speaking to me through myself, through connection, through the universe, through the earth. An amazing, amazing connection. One that, number one, is, how about this? I want to say rarely spoken of and talked about. Because I do know that somewhere around somebody is talking about it, right? However, I am literally the only person that I physically know outside of having some experiences and then having to search for the answers in other people. And thank goodness for the internet, but Creator could have sent me the answers through, it doesn't matter if it was the 1800s and I stumbled across a book somewhere or something like that, or somebody's journal, or whatever, or Creator just show the heck up, I would have been able to get the message. But either way, because Creator is all, I am all, because the creator that created me is in me all the way through me, period. Just like that river, just like those trees in the background there. The same life force that is in me, that propels me to have consciousness, that propels me to live, every molecule in my body, right? I'm filled up mostly of water. Water is all the way through me. If I nick my hand, I begin to leak, right? If I get hot, sweat starts to come out of me. Water begins to come out of me, right? So, here's the question. If I bleed from just a little scratch on the surface, and I sweat, am I solid? Am I solid? Or am I just a tight molecular structure functioning in another energy-based molecular structure with different densities, right? When you look at the X-ray, what does an X-ray do? It takes rays and shoots billions of them, or whatever the number is, what? Through me. And then I just walk away. And I don't even feel the effects of it, right? It just shot billions of holes through my body and took a picture of the levels of density in my body. And yet we walk around here every day acting like we're solid. What my point is that I, Thomas James Brady, am simply an address. I'm a vehicle to hold a portion of the mind which is God. Like Jesus Christ, I am. Look at me now. I am. I am. Like Jesus Christ, I am. Guess what? You too. Yeah. You too. A collective consciousness. Now, this is the thing. Although I've read it in books, I had the experience. Then I began to resonate to and have things and people resonate towards me coming together in a miraculous way. Miracles in my life on a daily basis. I have stuff that happens to me. My life is one length of synchronicities of these experiences, because it's all about the timing. You know, you see a lot of videos posted about Kundalini awakenings and stuff, and numerology, and people that, you know, I remember the first time I saw a video and people were talking about how numbers were following them around, like, you know, on the clock. Like, you look up and it's 3:33. You look up and it's 4:44. You look up and it's 5:55. You know what I mean? You know, the time that I found the word synchronicity, which was, you know, I was like, ooh, awesome. I don't have to say that was too coincidental to be coincidence anymore. I don't have to say that anymore. You know, now I got a word for it. It's called synchronicity. I dug further, and I guess that phrase was coined from Carl Jung, the psychiatrist. At least from what I understand, that seems to be the first of it for it to pop up. And there was a lot of literature that started to come out in the 1900s, you know, in the 40s, around there, that industrial era, things began to change. A level of knowledge began to come about. I want to be a part of the movement of truth. I don't want to battle against anybody. I don't want to battle against myself. I don't want to war with anybody. I don't want to war with myself. The war and the battle, I want to be over. Now, this is the thing, is that starts with me, right? If I can stop the war, the battle inside me enough to influence 5 people, to stop the war and battle inside them, and they turn around and influence 5 people themselves, right? So we see it spreading. Maybe, just maybe, we can have a movement that spreads across the world and have some peace. Because this idea that there's a boogeyman out there that's out to get you, out to get me, that mentality causes a boogeyman to be there. Because you are co-creator. You have the creator all the way in and through you. Now, this is the thing. Through all of the experiences that I've had, through all of the experiences that someone has told me that I was having, or told me a way to live, or told me this is how it needs to be, I've had a few sets of experiential knowledge through teachings of others. Parents, society, school. And then there was the experience that I had on my own, where I said, all this is a bunch of shit. All of this is a bunch of crap, because I'm not able to find the power that I need to transcend my own self. And I'm following your belief system, and it's failing me. I'm following your God, and it's failing me. There's only one thing to do. Set out and search for myself. To thine own self be true. As a man thinketh, so is he. The golden rule. Do unto others as you'd have done unto yourself. Why? Because you are me. I am you. We are God. I'm just looking at you like a finger. Like 2 fingers looking at each other with 2 sets of eyeballs looking at each other. Guess what? Connected to a hand. The body. I am the church. You see? I am the church. You are the church. Until we begin to search for God, Creator. I don't even like to use the word God, because it has a male presence to it because of the whole Christianity thing. And I'm not saying that all of Christianity is wrong. I'm just saying, in my experience, some of the really big points that spread fear and control, those things I'm still trying to break in myself. And I realized how bad the conditioning is. I realized how many caps have been put on me through the conditioning of society and others and teachings of others. And I also realized that you're almost better off not believing in anything and then coming to a place where you begin to believe than to have a religion and then have to turn around and break all of that conditioning. Because in the formidable years, how many broken-hearted kids are there every year when they come home from school or whatever, and the other kids told them that Santa Claus don't exist? How many So, first off, how about this? We tell our kids not to lie, and then we lie to them and say, yeah, there's this magical character that comes down the chimney or whatever, and we leave cookies out, and dad's drunk ass comes downstairs and eats the cookies when the kids are asleep, whatever. You know what I mean? Right? We lie to them and tell them, don't lie, right? Okay, well, guess what? Let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen, or not seen, have you ever thought and gone, you know, there's some similarities between the Bible and Santa Claus? He's making a list. He's checking it twice. He's going to find out who's naughty and nice. And if you're naughty, you get a lump of coal, which is a representative of what? Of fire, right? Fire and brimstone. Brimstone. Coal, right? Of course I know that coal is not brimstone. I'm just making a an simile, you know, a comparison of apples to apples. The Lamb's Book of Life. He's making a list and he's checking it twice. And if you ain't in the book, you get to burn in hell. Let me ask you a question. If you believe in Satan, if you believe in the dualism, and you believe that God is creator of all, right? And you believe that God knows everything before it happens. God's everywhere and God's nowhere, right? So, this is a place that I had to come to. I had to ask myself this question. So, God created Satan, knowing that Satan would be evil, knowing that Satan would fall from grace, knowing that Satan would then tempt God's beloved creation and drag them to hell, and then give us an ultimatum and send Jesus Christ, because of course the perfect creator screwed up, right? Damn, messed up, created Satan, oops, dude, knew it was gonna happen, but did it anyway, right? Well, doesn't that make God responsible for hell? And then people want to talk about God as love, and yet then all of a sudden God's God of war, but God's of love. God, you know, it's just junky. It's a junky thing, and it's also not the truth. I've experienced the truth. Like, I've actually experienced the truth. See, that's why no one can take away from me what I'm saying, because I've experienced it. People say, oh yeah, no, I've experienced the love of God, and all that stuff. If you've experienced what I've experienced, there's no denying it, because it's experience. It's not what someone taught me. It's what I personally experienced directly. Like Jesus Christ. Directly. I don't need a liaison. I am God's perfect creation. It sounds a lot like Jesus Christ. I am sinless if there's no sin. Is there right and wrong? Or is there just negative and positive? It's really funny how a person standing next to me can do the same actions that I'm doing and have no conviction in it and have no consequences behind it, because, you know, it's one of those dialed in, you know, things. You know, in other words, it's not punching somebody in the face. It's not, you know, breaking a law. You know, it's whatever. It's whatever, a personality thing, whatever. That when I do it, I have convictions behind it, and that energy brings about consequences. The guy next to me doesn't have conviction about it, and it brings about no negative consequences. Right? Okay, why do certain rules apply to me and not him, or vice versa? Why does this guy always have a dark cloud following him around, and he's always saying, woe is me? Because he's a creator, like Jesus Christ. I am. See, this is the thing. This message that I've got right now, that I'm saying, is the same message that Jesus Christ was bringing to the people. I believe that Jesus Christ was saying, not, I am God, worship me, but he was saying, I am, and he was saying, I'm equal to God, and guess what? And then people say, be like Jesus. What would Jesus do? I'm being like Jesus. I'm saying I am. I'm saying I am the perfect creation. I am saying that there is no light without dark. Embrace your dark side and see who you are. Stop being afraid of who you are. Whichever way you want to look at it, God created Satan, which fell and is now dragging people to hell and tempting them. Even in your own Bible, it says that you are not tempted by God, you are tempted by your own desires. Oh, and by the way, there's other material out there. Jesus, speaking to Didymus, Thomas, the Gospel of Thomas, has a completely different feel to it. And guess what? It didn't make the cut. But it's out there. The knowledge is out there. This is the bottom line. If it has you in fear, get rid of it. Look deep inside yourself and find the truth. You are the truth. You have a direct line, because there is no separation between you and God. God is not out there. God is in here and out there. It's perpetual. There's no end. There's no beginning. And that's all the way through you. There's no end and no beginning in you. Just because you are born and you die, you never begin and you never end. You always were. You always were. Look at nature. Everything recycles. The tree goes up. It drops the seed. It goes in the ground. That tree comes up. It's just like the lineage of us. Is it the same tree? It's from the same tree. Trace that all the way back to the beginning of man. You are made of the same stuff the earth is. You're made of stardust. You are as old as humanity. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Try to stay out of that. Anyway, the sun's starting to come down. I've been trying not to jerk around too much, getting eaten by mosquitoes. I got some stuff off my chest. It's pretty good for a first video. I'm gonna try to edit it, whatever. You know, this might make the cut to video number 1. I might edit it up, put bits and pieces in it. I don't know. I'm gonna try to get a lot of these going. I think this is a good start for YouTube channel. My name's Thomas J. Brady. Thomas James Brady. I don't know, I might go by Thomas J. I'm not sure. Because there is a Tom Brady out there, the football star. And I think it's just easier to go by Thomas. But anyway, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to have had my experience. Obviously, you know I'm passionate about what it is that I'm saying. And I believe that I have a responsibility to be happy because I understand that I affect people. I understand I have the ability to influence people. So do you. This is the deal. Check it out, right? There's songs written about it. Look, man, once your eyes are open, dude, it just keeps coming. Once your eyes are open and then you begin to see the lies. And I'm trying my best to not be resentful because I felt duped. Like, I feel like if I would have learned this as a child, oh my goodness, how magnificent I could be today. But that's not how it happened. So I plan on being magnificent from this point on. And I have a responsibility to be happy for myself, because through that happiness, I influence others to be happy. I'm going to say this in closing because it's actually getting dark and I can tell. When you hear things like, you brighten up a room when you walk into it, how is that possible unless we are energy?